Welcome back. Hello, Pilgrims and Indians here. Back to episode 91 of the Change My Mind podcast. I don't even know if I can say that anymore. We're part of the hashtag Dorkshire Gooniverse, along with Geeks Worldwide Radio and Midnight.fm. That's what happens when you don't stick to the script. We are undisputably the People's Podcast. We are the official podcast of Animosity and probably on the hate list of many Native Americans across the United States right now. We are the podcast formerly known as The Prettiest, and we are the newly announced podcast of Wet Leaves in Your Backyard. I am Wesley Sykes, and through the ether is the Cape Crusader to my futurist, Mr. Nick Fryer. Nick, how are you? I think you're probably doing better than I am right now.
I'm doing great. When you said it, well, I didn't expect Wes to go there, but okay, yeah, I forgot it's Thanksgiving time.
I didn't either. That's all I was really going. Yeah, there wasn't. You don't have to dig too much deeper into that.
Right? No, of course not. You're fine. Just we just hope that Kyrie Irving's not one of our listeners because then we're in trouble. Then he's going to get very offended. Yes. Yeah. He's going to get very upset because he hates Thanksgiving. I will never forget that. That was. I understand the issues with Thanksgiving, but. God,
yeah, or any of our friends from the Bridgewater Triangle, who got their hands on the old Wanta belt.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. I forgot about that. Bridgewater Triangle. Talked a lot about that last month, but we have since moved on from that.
Yes, we're out of the spooky and the macabre and all that good stuff, and we're just on to friends and family and football, the 4 Fs that we all love. But speaking of that, one F I have not mentioned in that sentence is fighting. So, Nick, if you could pick any 2 people to be in a steel cage match, who would they be?
Okay, first, I was thinking he forgot fighting, and we didn't talk about that beforehand, so I'm very proud of that.
Just synergy. Right up. Yeah.
Second, am I talking about fictional people, or am I talking about real people?
This is dealer's choice.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with real people right now, and I want to see a DSG fight, actually. I'd really love to see that. And I know Rich Keefe has that newly found dad strength, and I know he was a football player in college.
The forearms have got to be coming in real
right.
For that
and you look at it, I'm sure if you look at his stats and everything, they were very impressive for what he did at Hobart, I think it was. Anyways, I want to see him go against the self-proclaimed tough guy of the DSG, one Jeffrey McNamara, who thinks he can take on every animal that's on this planet pretty much. I'd like to see those 2 go at it in a cage match to see who comes out the victor.
Now, that is your classic case of size versus what I would imagine to be some athleticism, agility of sorts, right?
Definitely.
That's your classic. Who would you think comes out the victor?
I would tend to go with Rich because Rich is not tiny necessarily either, and I think he could wear down Mac. And I think I think Rich can take a punch better than Mac, which is half the battle in a fight.
That's true, but there's a lot of mass to be absorbed. If you get to a ground game, I feel like Mac, that's where Mac would shine best.
Ooh, Wesley, you're putting on your MMA analyst hat.
I'm just saying, I have been listening to a lot of Joe Rogan recently, so maybe that has rubbed off on me. That and the vitamin D intake. Of course.
Were you listening to the Kyrie Irving? Kanye West interview is the same guy, I guess.
Oh yeah. It's essentially in many ways they're the same guy. Yeah. That's old news though. We talked about that on the podcast.
No, you're right. So what's the cage match you want to see?
So the first one that came to mind is I would really like to find out who the boy went to from the late 90s, early 2000s song "The Boy Is Mine" from Brandy and Monica. Nice little girl fight. Who doesn't like to see that? Brandy and Monica, interesting.
Okay.
What came up recently? If you want to have a triple threat match, if you will, the Hollywood Chris's. You got your Chris Pines, your Chris Pratts, your Chris Evans.
Oh.
Give me Chris Pratt, the outdoorsman. He's got the power of God on his side too, so that's always good to have in your corner.
Very powerful.
How about a late night, Royal Rumble-esque of late night show hosts? You got your Jay Leno's, your David Letterman's, your Conan O'Brien's, your Jimmy Kimmel's.
Yeah, I would say the first 2 I like a little bit more. My question though is you gave me 2 people, and Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, and Chris Evans. Who do you want against Chris Pratt?
Oh, well, if that was going to be like a triple threat match, if we're thinking of wrestling rules and stuff, Chris Pratt and Chris Evans, though, if I had to go between the 2,
Gotcha.
Yeah, because Chris Pine is kind of taking a backseat. Like I know he's like Captain Kirk and all, but
yeah,
where's he been?
So let me ask you this: if we did Tom Hiddleston versus Tom Holland, since we're sticking to the name theme, who are you picking in that fight?
Oh, Tom Holland. Tom Hiddleston's great, but I might take Thomas Middleditch, Silicon Valley. That nerd, I might take him.
Okay, I'm taking Tom Hiddleston because I think that he's probably very much like Loki in real life, because that's how it works with actors. They're very much like their characters that they portray.
100%.
Yeah, 1,000%. We were going to talk about today with our main topic, at least with one of the characters.
Yeah, exactly. With one of them, and thank you for that segue. That little assist there, regular Steve Nash. I'll be your Mari Stoudemire, because we're going to be stepping back to the debate podium for another Change My Mind classic debate. Who is the better genius, playboy, billionaire, philanthropist? One, Batman, or Mr. Tony Stark, aka Iron Man?
I think we all know who's going to take which side in all of this too. But this is our first Marvel versus DC debate that we're having on this show. I am very excited for this. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But first, Wes, we got a trend.
Yes, we do have to trend. And yesterday we experienced an earthquake, Nick, in the Northeast, right off the coast of New Bedford, pretty much, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think we were the only guys in the DSG because we are in that South Coast Cape area. And Wes, of course, we're such great friends. We didn't text one another to see if we were all right, but I kind of assumed that you were okay.
It was not that big of a deal, though. Like it was my cousin's 40th birthday the night before. So I was up early, but around like 9 o'clock or so, like 9 in the morning on Sunday. At that point, I was like going for like my mid-morning nap. So I was like just about dozing off. Jules was on the couch next to me. I was like that mid-dream sleep, and she's like, "Did you feel that?" And I could kind of feel things shaking, but I wasn't sure. It was. Then I just went peacefully back to sleep.
So I had the towers over in Somerset. You remember those, right? So those got knocked down when I was, after I had moved into my place. So I experienced that. That was early last year, and the shake felt very similar to that. But me, being the dumbass that I was like, I felt the shake. I'm like, did somebody drop like a refrigerator or something upstairs? Like, that was a pretty loud shake. Yeah. And it's like my whole place is shaking. There's no way it's an earthquake, right? Like, what the hell? No, there's no way it's that. But it lingered, and I was like, maybe? But it's just, how? There's no way. It doesn't happen in Massachusetts. You're an idiot. Somebody dropped something, and I don't know, the room's still reverberating because of that. But then my brother calls me later, and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, why? And he's like, did you not feel the earthquake? It's like, so that was an earthquake. Holy shit. But I figured
this is in places where there's like, not typically earthquakes or natural disasters, seeing these things happen a lot more and more. It could just be the first sign of the rapture. Who knows?
This is true.
Some conspiracy theorists maintain the fact that they misinterpreted the Aztec or the Mayan calendar, that December 2012 was the end of the world, and that it was actually 2020. December 2020. So it's coming up again. So this is a great time. Make your days count.
Yeah, definitely make your days count. But I don't buy into any of that rapture nonsense. But I will say, I gotta imagine this is what people like. This must be what people in South Carolina or whatever feel like when they get snow, or like a little bit of snow, like a dusting, because
people freak out for like nothing. Yeah,
I was rattled. But it's again, I'm on the 8th
floor.
Are
trending now. That's big news.
Of course, I mean, and I'm on my 8th floor of my building. So it was, after the fact, I was like, oh, thank God. That's good. What the hell was that?
You would have been pancaked between the 9th and the 7th floors.
Yeah, definitely. I would have been toast. Who knows? Seriously, who knows what could happen? We would have been having
this. What's your escape plan? Do you have an evacuation plan?
Oh, I was in the middle of work, and I was like, well, if this is how I die, then I mean, I guess there's worse ways to go.
Get updating everybody on Josh Jackson's hamstring injury. That's the way to go.
Yes. Well, because you know why, Wes?
People gotta know. There's money on the line.
I've already peaked because we had our X-Men, the animated series interview with Eric Lewald and Julia Lewald picked up everywhere after I posted about it on Geeks Worldwide, which is where it was originally. If you guys want to go read it, or if you want to listen to it, we have it on our channel. It's also on Geeks Worldwide Radio. But more importantly, comicbook.com picked it up. Screen Rant picked it up. Then some other sites that I'm not as familiar with. Those are the bigger ones.
Joe Blow.
Yeah. What the hell was that with that headline? Goo was pissed about that.
Yeah, that guy sucked.
Yeah, but you know what, Wes? We're newsmakers. That's what Change My Mind's all about.
We're tastemakers and news shakers, I would say. And I believe this is also appearing on WBZ News AM radio. Change that dial. Not
Yes.
change my mind, change that dial.
Ooh. Yeah. It was last weekend. It was last Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it was there.
It was there. I heard it, but it's either way, you can hear the entire interview because Goo did have to cut it up a little bit. You can hear the entire interview on our channel. There's a lot more. I mean, they told us that they had a Thor animated series that they tried to propose. Because Goo was rocking his.
Yeah.
By the way, I was kicking myself. I dressed nicely for the interview, but I was kicking myself like, I probably should have worn my X-Men shirt. Whatever. But Goo comes in wearing superhero shirt. It's Thor. What? What?
Well, it's right around it, right?
Hey, but it worked out because then they tell us, we had a Thor animated series in the works too. So if we have aggregators listening, there was that earlier on too. But
I have a question as two weathered and distinguished newsmen like we are. How did it feel being on the other side of the news? I mean, you're a well-off semi-professional athlete, so you've been written about plenty of times.
I didn't know if you meant like as getting stuff aggregated before, because that's happened before. Like that's whatever. But I'm sorry.
When you're the subject and not someone who's doing the writing anymore.
You know what, Wes? It felt great. It was I felt like, other than that Joe Blow guy, who I'm not going to let any Joe Blow get me down, it was it felt good. It was like an enriching experience, to know that what we were talking about matters. And we'll continue to do interviews like that going forward so that we can hopefully have more people learn about our show.
I was just further confirmed that the news is fake. It's just fake news everywhere, slapping censors on me, whatever they want. Yeah, no.
Yeah, definitely what it is. So you're upset about that, and you were upset about the other bit of news that we saw from...
This one ground my gears a little bit. I don't know if this was from IGN, but Max shared this in our little Twitter thread there. Miles Morales is going to be rocking Adidas kicks in his new, what is it PS5 video game? Of course, he famously wore the Air Jordan 1s in Into the Spider-Verse, which then became a new popular. They had the Spider-Man ones that kind of looked like it had like the webbing and like the netting on it too. So there's a special edition one that came out. Just looked very good. And again, really helped with Halloween costumes for future reference, because I own a Spider-Man costume. But, you don't want to wear, like, it goes up over the feet. So now I can just wear the Air Jordans that I have the exact same ones, and now I got kind of like a Miles Morales Spider-Man vibe going on, and it still kind of fits.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not going to wear freaking shell toes. Like Miles Morales is so cool. Like that's the whole reason why he's wearing the Jordans. The whole reason why he doesn't tie them. Like this guy's rocking like low shell toes from like, I don't know, 2005. Like that was cool. Like way back in the day. So you're not moving well in shell toes. You gotta really, it's a shell toe. It's tough. It's difficult to turn the balls on your feet.
Well, I get that, but we're also dealing with a guy who has superpowers, so I think he's going to be able to adjust a little bit. My biggest issue, look, I'm not a sneaker snob like you and Mac are, and I think Billy is too.
Yeah, Billy's big in the easy game.
Big sneaker fan, excuse me. I don't want to be condescending to you guys because I do understand there are a lot of people who like sneakers. Yeah, I know it's too late. I can't take it back. But I will say, look, the Jordan 1s, definitely a better look. There's no question about it. I didn't hate this though. I thought, okay, these sneakers actually look pretty cool. I would buy these, but this is Superstar on the side there, I think. Pass. Once I see that, I'm out. I'm all set. I don't need that.
Superstar. That's the shoe.
Is it? See, this is where I don't know shit about sneakers.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's not like something they put on just for Miles Morales.
Well, okay, good.
You're just out on the shell toe then.
So I'm just out on the Superstar being there. I think it looks stupid. So I guess I don't know. Now I have mixed feelings. You know what? I'm going on.
Now you're torn. Did I change your mind? Did we do it?
You kind of did a little bit. I don't know.
Ding, I love it.
Either way, we're in agreement that the Jordan 1s were absolutely a better look. I would love it if they made a Miles Morales Jordan variant somewhere down the line. That's what we need.
They did. They did. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you were saying? Oh, I'm confused. I'm so confused. Sneaker stuff is like next level stuff for me. It's very confusing. It's complex.
It's a lot of above the ear shit. I think what it really comes down to is Adidas was probably a cheaper sponsor.
That's 1,000%. And look, they missed out on Michael Jordan so many years ago. He wanted to be with Adidas, and now they look at it as we have Miles Morales. Same thing. We don't want to miss out on that.
They should have put him in Yeezys. That's what they really should have done. Like the Yeezys actually kind of fit that Miles Morales vibe.
I'm all set with that.
The Yeezys make a nice shoe. I don't know. You don't have to like the guy.
No, that's fine. Well, you know what? In fairness, you're right, because I have the Kyries. Those are my basketball shoes.
Yeah, see.
So who am I to be like that? Last little bit of news before we get to the comic book minute. Apparently, Johnny Depp is out as Grindelwald, which was a little bit of a surprising development, because I thought his whole thing with Amber Heard, I thought it was going in Johnny Depp's direction, like in a good way. And now it seems like
that has to do. Is that like why he's out?
Well, he's stepping down, and he resigned. He announced it on Instagram, and if
maybe he hates the script.
Warner Brothers asked him to do it. They talked to him about it, so it's not that. So that's why it seems very much like it has to do with what's going on with his relationship.
Hey, maybe it's money. Who knows?
Maybe. But Mike, more so, like I enjoyed. I don't know if I saw the first one. I gotta be honest. I did see the second one with my brother. I was visiting him, and his fiance loves Harry Potter stuff, so they wanted to watch it. I hadn't seen it yet. Whatever. Do you watch these, and do you care about this? Because you're a Harry Potter.
I tried to get into it. I really wanted to. I don't know if it's an Eddie Redmayne thing. I don't know if it's just that like I had no connection to these characters, so it was a little tougher for me to buy in. The Harry Potter had the advantage of reading the book, so it was already built in. But it was also at the perfect like preteen age. Like I kind of grew up around the same time with them. I think we were like right around, probably a little older, but relatively speaking. This stuff comes out, I'm a little bit older. It's the suspension of disbelief kind of stretches out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So not really.
I thought they were. I remember people not liking them quite as much. I thought they were pretty good. I didn't. The second one. I don't know if I saw the first one. No, I know. You know what?
Inconsequential.
No, I did see. I did end up going back and watching the first one, and I thought they were fine. I mean, like they're not movies we would necessarily review unless you really felt strongly about it. I thought it was okay. Whatever. Yeah. Inconsequential. Well, Wes. I don't know. I mean, you kind of know how it ends, but there are certain characters that get brought into this that are important.
Yeah, but
okay. All right. Fine. Whatever. Anyways, before we move on to the comic book minute, we just want to remind everybody that we have the new logos up on TeePublic, the Change My Mind Debate Club logos, which I have mine in the mail. I should be getting that. I just got a notification about it. I think I'm getting that tomorrow, so unfortunately can't rock it for the show tonight. Mm-hmm. I know we posted a picture over on Facebook of the lovely Julia Sykes. She was the first one to order one of our shirts. She actually ended up getting a sweater, I believe.
Sweatshirt, yeah.
So looks like those came out great, and we have
it looks nice.
We have two variations because Wes asked me this last show, and then I got chastised in the group when you asked about it. Legitimately, ignorance was like the only thing I did wrong in this case. I don't know what I can do to control that, but we have the logos where, like Julia bought, and like myself, where it's the big logo. And
this. Okay. I was confused where you're going. Okay.
There's the big logo. Again, we have the Gryffindor type colors. We have the Slytherin type colors. We have our show colors. Then Wes originally wanted it where we have it on the top left corner of the shirt over on your chest.
Like the pocket would be over the heart.
Exactly. We can't get any pockets. We can't get any collars, but we can put the logo there, which I know you were very excited about. So we have those. We have those options. Both those options there for you guys over on TeePublic, whatever tickles your fancy. But you can get those, and I think maybe next week we'll roll out that other new logo that we just got.
I like that. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, make sure you guys are keeping an eye out for all the deals that they got going on TeePublic. It happens every so often. I know we're tweeting it out from our show account, and we'll be posting it on Facebook to let you guys know because they always have good deals. Personally, I always buy my stuff when deals are ongoing. As for the comic book minute, Wes, there was some big news for DC Comics this week, and we'll talk about it a little bit more or a lot more, I think, in TLDR with Joe this week. But Marie Javins, I believe is how you say her name, she has been promoted to editor-in-chief of DC Comics. She was the co-editor-in-chief. She was named that back in August. Yeah, August when they had all those layoffs at DC. The big thing that I know from this, Wes, Scott Snyder thinks it's good for comics. So if Scott Snyder's down with it, he thinks it's a good thing, then I got to imagine that it's fine.
Sure.
So as for DC Comics this week, Dark Knight's Death Metal Infinite Hour Extreme, which is a Lobo one-off for this event. I've been very excited for this, been waiting for it for a while. This one was one of the very first teas, but obviously came on very late in the event. I've already read it. I already have my review done. It's out. The review's coming out the same day that our episode's coming out. I'm on Tuesday. I'm very I thought this was very well done, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this one. Also,
I have a question.
You do?
I want to put up here. I want to know: is this a typo in the show notes? Extreme XXX?
No, there are three. There are three
Is
X's.
this a sexual comic?
Well, I think if I answer that, I think it would spoil things if I answer it either way. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. I can't.
You get a little penetration going on there, a little conflict penetration.
I would say I was very entertained. If that helps in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so maybe Lobo getting a little bit of a low blow.
Maybe, and if that's not enough for you, the 48-page issue of Punchline is coming out, who is Joker's new female sidekick. So I'm very excited to read that. I haven't gotten a chance to look at that, not reviewing it. Also, American Vampire 1976 issue 2 is out this week. I know Snyder's been talking about that a lot over on Twitter. Also, TKO Studios, big week for them. They've had their third wave that they've been teasing for a while, and people could pre-order it. Those books are all coming out now. They may be at your local comic shop. There's Lonesome Days, Savage Nitrates. I am very excited about. There's The Pull, and there's Red Fork. And Wes, I actually got review copies for all of this stuff. Just came in the mail recently. So I'm going to be reviewing all three of those for Geeks Worldwide. Maybe talk about them on TLDR at some point, too.
Busy guy. I like it.
Busy. And I'm very excited to read these books. I know Doc was very excited for Red Fork. For Marvel, I actually ended up picking up U.S. Agent. But because of other stuff, Doc talked about Archangel 8 last week. I've been dying to read that. And so I pushed this back, but I ended up getting U.S. Agent because you talked about how you were interested in it. And I started reading it a little bit. It seems like there's a little bit of humor to it because people are disappointed that this isn't Captain America, people that he's dealing with in this instance. So
okay, get that.
There may be some humor, and if there's humor there, then safe to assume they're probably going to bring that over to Falcon and Winter Soldier when we see U.S. Agent.
I think the actor too is also kind of like a comedic guy. I think he was the quarterback in 22 Jump Street.
Oh shoot!
With the long blonde hair and with the cannonball or bazooka on his throwing arm.
I cannot remember that guy. I've seen that movie.
I think it's him. Yeah.
Did you like those movies a lot, right?
Oh yeah, they're great.
I think they're good. I don't think great. I would not. Where do you think they're going to? Was the first one in the aughts or was that in the 10s?
I don't know. Everything kind of blends. I think they're both 2010s.
Okay, because then they'll probably come up in the Mac and Goo comedy rankings because I know they just did the 90s, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think that's coming out this week.
Yep, and then they already did the aughts. But anyways, last couple things before we move on to our main ticket item. Let's see. Oh, Taskmaster 1 comes out for Marvel this week. I'm going to pick that up too, just for the same reason that you were talking about with U.S. Agent last week. I feel like this is something where people like the show, maybe help you see where the writers are right now with the character over on the comic side. Maybe that's going to, be an indicator of what to expect on the movie side of things. So other than that, we'll be talking more about, about some books this week with Doc over on TLDR. Power Rangers 1, which is not the same as Mighty Morphin 1, is out this week from Boom Studios. Doc's rule, always pick up first issues of anything Boom Studios. And then there's a Hellboy. I don't know if it's Hellboy I get so confused with, but I still like reading Hellboy. This is Hellboy in the BPRD: The Seven Wives Club. So I imagine it's going to be like a 3-issue arc if you guys are looking for a little Hellboy fiction. I don't know who is after what happened with the movie.
Are they Mormons? Is that what's going on there?
That's exactly what it is. They're killer Mormons. Absolutely. Yes. Carnivorous Mormons. But anyways, we'll be talking about more of that stuff over on TLDR, which is on at 7 this week, of course, on Doc's Twitch stream, on our Twitter page, Change My Mind, and on the hashtag Dorkshire Gooniverse Facebook page. But Wes, enough about the comics. It is time for our main event.
Yeah, I have one thing I'd like to circle back to. When you were talking about how much you liked deals, right? Getting a good deal and discount. We're talking about the merch and stuff.
Oh, yes.
Does that mean that you would be Nick Flyer? Is that what that means? I thought of that just when you started the comic book minute, and I waited patiently for you to finish that, just so I could get that joke out.
And you participated in the comic book minute. Holy crap! Look at you.
I know. I wanted that to be the first thing that I say after the comic book minute, but the triple X dream and with Lobo over there had me going. I had to ask some questions.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's. Yeah, you can start calling me Nick Flyer. I'm not changing my name on Twitter again yet, though. I'm sticking to
Nick Flyer, maybe only on Black Friday.
Yes, or Cyber Monday.
Yeah, that whole week because the deals are still happening after Cyber Monday.
But right now, I'm going to keep it as Nick the bane of Wesley Sykes' existence, Friar. I'm sticking to that for right now.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, I think that generally works. And I think that's only going to continue this week because again, we're doing another classic change my mind debate, if you will, about who is the better maybe skill, gadget, technician of their universe, Batman or Iron Man. And Nick, why are we doing Batman or Iron Man? Of course, I love Iron Man. That's been well established on this podcast. I've argued in his corner many times before, and I'll do it many times after this. And of course, Batman, we all love Batman. No, who doesn't like Batman, right? But I would say that you're a very big Batman fan to stand in his corner. But why are we doing this? Why are we pitting these two iconic characters against one another?
Well, just in general, I mean, doing the Marvel DC debate, we haven't done that at all before, and we debate them plenty in general. But I've wanted to kind of dig in on this at times, talking about characters. When it comes to the movies, obviously we know, generally speaking, who has done better, although Batman has had his own success. And we'll talk about that more within this debate specifically. But I love comparing the differences between characters, especially the ones that are so much alike. And we're dealing with these two properties, which everybody cares about so much, that as our fan base, whether it's Change My Mind specifically or the hashtag DorkSharedGooniverse. So, I just wanted to try and defend my guy and see how you want to go and present things with Iron Man, what you care about most to. And I think when we do stuff like this, it kind of tells me a little bit more about you, Wesley. And also, this isn't just fighting. That's why I learned a little bit more about you, because if it was just fighting, yeah, you can do that. That's fine. That's fun. But there's a limit to it. We did our 2v1s very early on in our show, and those were mini segments. That's it. It's a mini segment. Yeah, you can go break stuff down, but I just think it's not as entertaining. We care about more than just the fighting with characters, right?
Yes, yeah, much more than just the fighting, although that's a big part of it. But I think we at the Change My Mind podcast believe in a few things, one of which is that we are two sides of the same coin, and that's what Batman and Iron Man are. If I could pull a good analogy there and just give myself a little pat on the back for that one. Obviously, a lot of similarities, but I think there are a few things that definitely define them in being very different. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So while we do that, before we get to the opening arguments, let's run through something I like to call the tail of the tape. If you want to start in the red corner wearing the black trunks with the yellow trim, we got Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Okay, who stands according to my research, stands at 6'2". He is 210 pounds of sheer friggin' muscle.
That's a beefy guy. 6'2", 210.
Yes.
I know he gets depicted bigger in some of the animated movies. But that's a beefy guy.
Definitely. I mean, if you look, that's what I mean. Like, it's sheer muscle. You look at him in the majority of, and how he's been portrayed, he's always muscular. Yes, I know with Christian Bale, he's a little bit more cut up, but still. So, I mean, if you're packing 210 pounds in that case, or if we're assuming Batman weighs that much, I mean, that's going to be a tough guy to friggin' move for sure. But anyways, there's more to him than his physique. There's more to him than the hero side of things. He's also Bruce Wayne, and he's the owner of Wayne Enterprises. Not to be confused, Wes, with Wayne Enterprises, Inc., which in real life is a flame-resistant clothing company, I found out.
Oh, is it really? Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Wayne Tech later on, because there's a category where this kind of applies to. But Wayne Tech is very Wayne Enterprises is very diverse, I think, with the different businesses that it has in it. But anyways, his net worth, he's worth $9.2 billion, but Wayne Enterprises is worth has average annual value of $31.4 billion. He, in terms of richest superheroes, I think he's a tick behind Iron Man and a little bit more behind Lex Luthor. And then Black Panther is 90 trillion. So it's not even close.
Oh, that vibranium, it's tough to
exactly. And then lastly, when you look at his family, he has a son, Damian Wayne. He has his baby mama, who is the daughter of the Demon, Talia al Ghul, his ex-fiance, who still believes is his lover, Catwoman. And then he's adopted Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and he has the adoptive father that everybody loves, who, now the late Alfred Pennyworth, but everybody still loves him. And then, he's taking care of other kids as well, but I wouldn't say they're adopted, so I'm not going to necessarily throw them in there. But that's Batman, in a nutshell for the tale of tape.
All right, I appreciate that. So moving onward to the winner here is Iron Man, aka Tony Stark. He's a male. I question some of these statistics because I looked up. He is 6'6" and 193 pounds.
That's
like rail thin. Nick, may I ask your height and weight?
I am 6 feet tall and I weigh 185 pounds.
Yes, I am also 6 feet tall. I am like 177 at the moment. 6'6", 193 pounds. You are like the Slender Man. Like that's like not
Mr. Fantastic.
Real. Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of questioning that, but we'll go with it here. He's from Long Island, New York. He is an inventor, industrialist, and a former U.S. Secretary of Defense. Tony's net worth comes in. You said just a shy number above Mr. Bruce Wayne. Try 12.4 billion. So that's another $3 billion with a B, more than. And of course, Stark Industries has an annual revenue of 20.3 billion, but probably not as diverse, admittedly, as Wayne Enterprises, because I'm not even sure what Wayne Enterprises does. We'll get into that later.
Absolutely.
Tony's education, he has advanced degrees in physics and engineering from MIT, which he obtained at 17 years of old, the ripe age, and his skills. He has expert knowledge in artificial intelligence, quantum mechanics. I forgot what AI stood for. I'm like drawing a blank on quantum mechanics. Also math, physics, chemistry, computer science, electrical and mechanical engineering, and then minorly martial arts and hand-to-hand combat.
Okay. Minorly, definitely. So I'm a little surprised about that.
I mean,
number.
It's there. He's a fighter. He holds his own against both Bucky Barnes and Cap. He can fight. I just wouldn't say that's like a first thing I would mention about Tony Stark.
Well, that actually brings us, Wes, to our first category, I think, and all this we
have some opening arguments here before.
I apologize.
Much like any good law room drama.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But first, before we before we do that. I don't know where you got your numbers from for his net worth, but I saw 9.3 billion where I researched it, and that was where I got the other numbers as well. So,
really?
Yeah. So I believe I thought it was Variety, but I don't know what it was.
One of these. I don't know if it was Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark. I don't know which one it was when I was looking these up. It was one was Forbes. So one of them is very right. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, opening arguments time, which I forgot to make a tab for that, of course. But anyways, Wes, like you and our amazing listeners, I can absolutely appreciate Iron Man. He's, he helped start a movement that's been huge for, geeks worldwide. But, excuse me, it's my turn, Wes. But you'll quickly come to realize Iron Man's greatest strength is Robert Downey Jr. in his charisma, not the character itself. And look, Wes loves to mention how Marvel changed the character so much in the comics to be more like RDJ. Why do you guys think that happened? Because the character itself stunk. And as we go through this argument, you will all realize how Batman is a superior character between the two.
Very interesting. I'm going to be short and sweet to the point here. I would be. I'm just going to ask the people one question: if you could live the life of Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, or the life of Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, who would you rather choose? Would you choose the charismatic playboy who is fun to be around, is the light of the life, doesn't enjoy hanging around in dungy caves with children, isn't aloof, actually has a positive outlook on life, and is a genius inventor, is a creative mind? That's something that you could learn from and continue in life, and not just necessarily have to throw money at getting things done. You can actually rely on yourself and your own smarts. That's what I'll ask. Okay,
so you said you're going to be short and sweet. that was so much shorter than what I had.
Well, I was feeling myself.
Yeah, of course, yeah, exactly. All right. Anyways, that brings us to our first category: better gadgets, tech, and combat. Wes, I went first with the opening arguments. Would you like to go first, or would you like to defer?
Yeah, no, I would be happy to go first. I think this is a no-brainer when it comes to gadgets and techs in favor of Iron Man. You have 50 Iron Man suits to choose from of your liking, the last of which was nanotechnology. Could be literally anything that he wanted it to be, essentially. And that's just in the MCU. That's not getting into all the different types of comics and everything. He created the repulsor ray, the arc reactor. You talked about Alfred Pennyworth. I'd rather have Jarvis on my side because then it's just, an AI. It's not a person that you have to get annoyed by. He's just always there, always has the answer. It's not an opinion, it's fact. But then you also have Friday. You have the Edith glasses. You have the Unibeam projector, which is the chest plate there. The iron freaking gauntlet. He created an iron gauntlet that could hold the power and withstand the power of all 6 Infinity Stones. He created that a human could wear. He also, just like in his free time when he was retired in a cabin with Pepper Potts, who was working on her composting, just, crack time travel and then happened to create these like really nifty Fitbit type devices to go through time with. You have all the Spider-Man suits. You have the suitcase armor in Iron Man 2. You have the Hulkbuster armor in Avengers Age of Ultron, which of course also goes to Veronica, this fantastic satellite system that's just going around the world, just waiting to drop the Hulkbuster armor when need be. You also have fantastic vision enemies and potential sentient beings in Ultron and Vision that he created. And then also, if you want to go back to the comic books, going back to the way back machine, he also had jet powered roller skates.
Okay. So
no question, the guy can fly. Like, there's nothing he can't do with the Iron Man suits.
Okay, so you bring up the jet power roller skates, which obviously you look at that and it's like, what is that going to do for you really now, Wes? But
that's just a little fun,
It is a little fun, and I don't blame you for bringing up a little fun, because Batman, right? He has a ton of things a ton of gadgets that have Bat in front of it, Batmobile, and to me, the first one I think of is always the Batarang, and to me, that is the absolute coolest gadget because you can put that thing on display wherever you want. Like you find a Batarang in the middle of the street. If you're a random person, like I just found this and I can go put it on display. That's just a general side fun thing. Like you said, who doesn't like
if that's leading your argument, then
nope. I'm just transitioning from one into the next. Anyways, when we talk about, look, you brought up all the gadgets in the tech. Why does he need to have Jarvis and create all these sentient AIs or whatever? Because he's not the tactician that Batman is. We're looking at, you have gadgets, we have tech, and we have combat. I put combat in. You put gadgets and tech because, gadgets and tech are important, but to combat villains and whatever. Batman.
I would think combat would be its own category. Just I'll let you have your moment. I don't mean, you have the greatest album of all time and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I think combat would just be in its own category.
We didn't have it as a category, so I figured let's just throw it all in there because there's so much else. Anyways, combat capabilities are part of it for the sake of this argument today, at least. And who is a better tactician than Batman in all of comics? I'll tell you right now, Wes, absolutely friggin' nobody. And I see all this time, like all these times people will say,
tactician has nothing to do with tech.
But we're talking about combat capabilities. It is part of all of this.
No, you just added that onto it.
I added it onto it beforehand.
We can have the conversation separately. Who would win in a fight? Like that's
we created the categories beforehand. B, I added it well in advance of you creating this said category.
But it changes the whole argument, though.
But it's been part of the argument that we had from the get-go. You didn't make an adjustment to it. That's your own fault for not going back and changing it. I would have happily done it, but it's what it is now.
That's just like gadgets and tech are one thing, and like combat is like something very different.
Okay. But we're okay. That I understand that. I was talking. It's supposed to be combat capabilities in this. Now,
what does that mean? What does combat capabilities mean?
Well, if you stop interrupting me, I'll fucking tell you what it means. Like that. Like how about that? Like certain combat capabilities are the man planning and having it, being able to adjust on the fly every single time with everything that's going on, relying on nothing but his brain. Constantly, I see on Twitter where people say, "Oh, what do you do if like what is Batman going to do if he's not given prep time?" He always has prep time. He always makes prep time. He always knows what to do. He always has an answer for every single thing. He has defeated the Batman who laughs, which is the Bruce Wayne having taken like the Joker serum, inhaling the Joker gas. He can fucking take on anybody. So again, like I understand your complaint with this, but I feel like it's an invalid complaint in the course of all this. Also, Wes, one last thing, because I know I've gone over because whatever. He's an elite hand-to-hand fighter. You take off the Iron Man suit, you take off the Batman suit, who's winning that fight? 10 times out of 10, Batman is walking away the victor in that fight.
Oh yeah, I agree, but I also think like the Batmobile, the Batcycle, the Batarang, all this other stuff. Like he's not making these; these are inventions that he's just throwing Bat in front of and like throwing some cool like spoilers on. Like Iron Man and like Tony Stark is like actually creating these things, and like that's where I think like why he has like the better like. You know, I can just buy a bunch of Ninja Stars and then fashion them in such a way to make them look like a ladybug, and then I'm Bugman.
Because Batman, so you're just going based off of Bale's Batman, because Batman does make his own shit in the comics too.
Yeah, but again, he's not like coming up with ideas. Like the idea of like a grappling gun has been around for years. Like the idea of like an arc reactor
Batman has been around for years too.
For a repulsor ray.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You know, like the army had like grappling guns before Batman did.
The arc reactor is absolutely the one of the most impressive inventions
like,
that we've seen.
The Iron Spider suit. You know, like he's like conceptualizing all of this stuff.
Right, absolutely. But again, I will stick to the argument that we created, which I know I added it on here and I made an addendum, whatever, but combat capability is part of this entire thing, because this is the only fighting thing that we have in all of this, Wes, if I'm not mistaken.
But so if you want to do combat capabilities, like the Iron Man suit is like indestructible. And it's you know like it has.
Is it indestructible?
It goes up against Thanos and kind of holds its own.
That particular one, that the latest one that we saw in that one. Look, as much as I would love to continue arguing this,
the Hulkbuster goes up against it, like so, like you know, like I understand like the combat capabilities, but like this guy's going up against like a destroyer of worlds. Like he was.
What is Darkseid? I know you haven't, you don't read the comics, you haven't seen him, but what the fuck is Darkseid? Are you telling me Batman's never faced Darkseid before and never
just dealt with that? Did he take a moon to the face and then get up from it?
Oh god, I'm sorry. He didn't take a moon to the face.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the Iron Man suit like offsets a lot of his deficiencies like in hand-to-hand combat where Batman obviously has them.
Okay. And in his superior planning too, because that's also where Batman is, and that is the most important thing. And that's where Batman can take on anything.
I agree. Like that's like a huge feather in the cap of Batman is that he's a great tactician and everything. But I mean, like to his own credit, like Tony Stark, master planner.
Not as good as Batman. There's no question about it. But Wes,
we had the gauntlet plan off.
We're totally disproving our point from earlier that we couldn't talk about their fighting forever because we've gone so far into this one and we have 7 other categories we want to get to.
You added the combat capability.
I added it a week ago. I added it like right when you came up with the categories. I added it. You knew it was there.
Thing. I didn't know what it meant.
Well, then I know this is a difficult concept for you, but just text me and ask me, or. You have a green light to change it. I don't care. You know, I don't care. I will tell you if I have a problem. Anyways, moving on. This brings us to better civilian life. Wes, would you like to start again, or would you like me to start?
I'll give you the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. So
that's civility. The civilian, see what we're doing there?
Oh, look at this. You know what? We were fighting in the first one.
Coming across the aisle.
About fighting.
There it is.
I like that very much. All right. So, look, Bruce has had his actually, that's a separate category that I don't want to get to. I'm going to talk about where you're
going. I almost went there too. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't want to do that. But Bruce Wayne is look, I know Bruce Wayne is more the mask than Batman is. But in general, this human being we're talking about cares about his city, cares about the people that live in the city, and wants to make sure they're taken care of. So when we look at Batman, yes, we see his crime fighting, and that is who he is. But then there's also stuff that Batman can't necessarily do. He can't go and cure cancer. He can't go and put his time into research all that, which are, the silent villains and all this, AIDS, other stuff. But you know what he has for that? He has Wayne Biotech that does research for that and looks into other it looks into other viruses and diseases and whatnot, and he has Wayne Pharmaceutical, Wayne Chemicals as well. Also, there's Wayne Medical that deals with all this, and they maintain and run most of the hospitals in Gotham. They have and they also take care of the orphanage. Of course, these are other businesses within Wayne Enterprises. You have Wayne Foods, which is not as well known, but they produce foods that don't have additives. They're trying to bring on organic products and everything. Oh, I'm sorry. They're trying to improve organic products. Obviously, those are very important now, very trendy now. You have the Wayne Foundation that addresses social problems that encourage crime and assist victims. Again, like the way Batman can't. And within that, you have the Thomas Wayne Foundation for medicine because father was a doctor. You have the Martha Wayne Foundation that is that's devoted to, I believe it's the arts, families, and tolerance, maybe education and all that too. But this man, you talk about philanthropy and all that stuff. Like this guy is an amazing person, and he's just all about giving back and taking care of the city that he loves so much.
Okay, so what I've heard, the picture that you just paint was someone that could be akin to a Bill Gates, someone who has their hands in pharmaceuticals, philanthropic foundations, giving back to the people, all that stuff. Boring. All right, no one likes Bill Gates. Okay, you want that fat slob, that like melted bowl of ice cream to give you health advice? No. What Iron Man is the comparison that many people have already made before him. He is Elon Musk. Do you want to be Bill Gates or do you want to be Elon Musk? Do you want to be the guy who's making a flamethrower, having a good time on Joe Rogan, or do you want to be the guy who wears purple sweaters and glasses and says, oh, well, hello, oh, excuse me? No, so that's the difference. Iron Man is the life of the party. He's the person that you want to be around. He's going to be the one who's giving energy to a room, to lighting up a party. Again, the person you want to be. I can go no further than his birthday party in Iron Man 2 as a great reason of that. But what is Batman? Batman is, or Bruce Wayne, I should say, is aloof. He is guarded. He is detached from society. He is viewed as narcissistic and kind of a bad guy. I don't think he's very much well liked, and that's also by design because he's guarded, right? Because that's his mask, and a lot of people would say Batman is his true identity, right? That's kind of like the common little switch people like to do. No one wants to be around him. There's a reason why that mansion is so huge and he lives by himself. And the only person who can stand to live with him is someone who he pays.
Okay, so let me ask you this first, Wes. I believe I've heard you say this before. I know I've heard other people in the DSG say this. Do you have interest in finding new friends? Do you all constantly want to hang out with other people, or do you want to be able to have your alone time?
I would say there's a healthy balance. There's
a healthy balance. Okay. Fair. I think that's a fair answer, but I think most people like to say they like to have their alone time. Bruce gets his alone time. People don't.
It's not like, do you want to make new friends or have your alone time? It's, do you want to have the friends that you have or make new friends? Like, that's not the question.
Okay. Anyways, Bruce is also focused on being Batman, and he's focused on taking care of everybody else. Like, so he doesn't have time. What?
So is Tony.
That's fine. But how much does Tony really party once he becomes Iron Man? How much? I would love to know that. Anyway,
but he's a blatant alcoholic throughout the comics.
I'm aware of that. Yes, that is actually, you know what? I am so glad you brought that up because that is important to the civilian life. And that's something that cannot be overlooked, is that Tony does have that in his past. He does have a dark past. Also, actually, no, that's another thing that's going to fall into another category. I cannot go into that. Dang it. They're so similar, those two, that I just want, which one I'm talking about. We'll get to that in a little bit. But you say that people don't like Bruce Wayne. And, well, like, who's saying that? The media? Because this is a guy who's funneling money into things that matter.
I'm going into like how people react to him. Like if you take Christopher Nolan's Batmans, for example, like no one in his own company really liked him. They try to get him out. Like, no one on the board wants him there. You have someone trying to like come up with money for him to like find out ways that, he's like diving money into Lucius Fox's department and all that stuff. He's trying.
Wait a minute. So everybody at Stark Industry, what is Spider-Man 3, Wes? What is Spider-Man 3? What happened there?
Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, Homecoming. I'm sorry, 2, Homecoming. I apologize. No, sorry. I got ahead of myself. Spider-Man Homecoming. What is that? Yes, I apologize.
Yeah. He creates all his own villains. Of course he does. Yeah.
People that worked for him, they fucking hated him.
Sure. Oh, yeah. But, I would say that he also, gives a lot of money to MIT. Everyone got their own college funds and all that good stuff,
Okay. So similar to what Batman does with his foundation.
Yeah. I don't really care, but like my argument, like, I don't really care if he's like a good person or not. It's like, do I want to hang out with him? Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with Bruce Wayne. Like, do I want to live Bruce Wayne's life, or do I want to live Tony Stark's life, and like 1,000 times out of 1,000, I'm living Tony Stark's life.
I think both of them live pretty brutal lives because I don't know, fighting crime like that.
One is more enjoyable than the other, though. Gotham just seems like a horrible place to live too. On a side note,
Gotham does kind of stink. Moving on, I alluded to Spider-Man before, of course, bringing up the wrong fucking movie. But who is the better mentor? Wes, you may start this one.
So I'll point to Spider-Man. I'll point to War Machine. I'll point to Harley Keener and Iron Man 3, who eventually turns to Iron Lad. And all these, though it's not many, I think he does a great job. Of course, with Spider-Man being, the one that's really featured prominently in the MCU. All these characters go on to become noble enough to be their own superheroes. They all have a high moral compass. But perhaps the most important takeaways from this is that A, no one dies under his watch, and B, he doesn't sleep with any of his mentors.
No, he just sleeps with his secretary,
who he marries.
Okay. Anyways, we don't sleep with any
president of the company too. Like, she's not the secretary.
Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about what they did in the. Oh, stop it with that. With the Batgirl stuff. Oh my God, get out of here.
That's why
that's in the horrible movie version of it that everybody hates.
It's there.
Oh my God. Okay, you want to take that? Okay, fine.
It's there.
Let's roll through a list of some of the heroes that Batman has helped create. Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Robin, Damian Wayne, who was raised by the League of Assassins, not his fault, but then he turned him into a hero. Signal, Orphan. Heck, I mean, even Red Hood is a hero now, right? Now let's look at a couple of your characters. I think we have
Red Hood has a lot of questions to him. Like,
he's a hero now. He's a hero now.
But he has a lot of blood on his hands.
He may, but guess what? Sometimes you got to get. Sometimes you got to get a little. Does Iron Man not have blood on his hands? What happened when he went and took out those terrorists in Iron Man 1? I think it was.
I haven't seen him kill anybody actually.
Iron Man 1, he didn't kill anybody there.
No, I think it was all stuns. There's no blood. There's no blood shown, so you can't confirm that to me.
Okay, well, I'm sure that everybody that Well, here's my thing with Red Hood, Wes. Had Batman not taken in Red Hood, then Red Hood would have absolutely turned into a villain because we see the capabilities that he had. We see how he, even with Batman being there to guide him along the way, he struggled with things, so he would have been a villain. But now, guess what? He kills people. He kills people, and who does he kill? He kills bad people. That's it.
Didn't he get Red Hood in like a bad position for where the Joker just abused him and he never came back to him? Isn't that like Red Hood's like whole reason to be upset at Batman initially?
It's because Joker's a master manipulator, and we didn't bring up Rogues Galleries in any of this too. But of course, that's a big issue. Dealing with Joker. I think Iron Man would have his tough time with Joker, especially when he's fighting his own teammates in Civil War.
Batman has never defeated the Joker.
What happens with you're talking about being a better mentor and you cite War Machine? War Machine. Paralyzed from the waist down. Spider-Man died.
He created tech to help him walk. Spider-Man is living.
Guess what? But you know what, Wes? You're telling me that wouldn't bug you a little bit, knowing like I need to have this tech at all times. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to walk. That wouldn't bother you at all. You're a broken man.
I don't know. A lot of people die. I have a weird issue with Bruce Wayne and all the young children. I think that's a big question. Like, why does this like 50-year-old man hang around like 14-year-olds who are like cast-offs from the circus?
You mean like so Dick Grayson, the only one from the circus? You take him in, who is an orphan whose parents died tragically, and you want to raise him and make sure that he's not alone like you were. All you had was Alfred.
Well, it's like
pretty good.
It's like someone who dates like a certain like type of person, right? If they're only dating like Hispanic girls or something like that, like once is like interesting, like the next time like you have a type. Yeah, 3 you have a type. Like 3 is like a trend. You know what I mean? Like the amount of kids that he brings in, like I'm not sure in 2020 if that holds up, and I'm not sure if I want to be his mentor. And then if you want to go to movies, I mean, you go to The Dark Knight Rises, you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt there. Tell him that he's lost track of the details. The Wayne Foundation hasn't been giving money to the Wayne Foundation for the orphan boys for years, and he just wasn't paying attention to it. So what's up with that?
Yeah, so you're gonna bring up that one, which had to do with civilian life. You bring up a little later. Okay, that's fine.
It's a mentor though. He's mentoring like kids, like foundation. Like it's his,
I don't think he was actually going there and ever mentoring those kids. But either way, Wes, I think that you know what,
a financial father figure. How's that?
That version of Batman, yeah, that he made that mistake there. That's a fair point. But in general, he's always the money's always there, and he's offering it up at all times. He got consumed with the Batman persona, and that's how you lose that kind of stuff. But again,
he's not paying attention to the details.
But he has changed the lives of all these orphans. Or when you look at Jason Todd, where his mom was dead, his father was believed to be dead, but turned out not to be dead. Like he's taking all these individuals in and helping them.
So he just took a son away from a living father. Is that
no? He was believed to be dead. He was believed dead. He was a.
I didn't believe it.
He was a criminal for Penguin as well.
A second.
Right, of course.
Never for a second did I believe. I thought it was out there the whole time.
That, of course.
A little presumptuous, if you ask me.
Our next category is one we've been alluding to or prepared to talk about a couple times here.
Might be my favorite one, actually, what I'm most excited about.
Better ladies, man. Then you know what? I'll let you lead this one again.
This could be the Rogues Gallery that we really should have mentioned, right?
Okay.
Okay, so I think Batman. They're both very promiscuous, if I say. They're very eligible bachelors and not afraid to let people know. Famously, Pepper Potts is the one who really wrangles Tony at the end there. But in the comics, I mean, he has a pretty good run and a pretty wide array from Gamora to Spider-Woman to Maria Hill to the Wasp to Emma Frost. Going diamond mode would be scary in that situation. Same thing with She-Hulk. She-Hulk would present all types of problems with the gamma radiation, and like I don't really know.
Just thinking about the boys again.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Black Widow as well. Yeah, so that's eight pretty famous, well-known characters. That's not including all of the like journalists from Iron Man, who I'm blanking on the blonde journalist there.
Okay.
Other situations.
Like yes, I forget that. I forget what her name is.
Iron Man 3, the botanist.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Forgot about her. So let me ask you, Wes, who, not in this debate, like talking super outside of this, who's the most intimidating superhero you would say from DC and Marvel, just off the top of your head?
Like intimidating.
Like which is the one that's probably the most terrifying that could snap your neck like this?
Oh, geez.
I feel like this is a no-brainer answer. Superhero. What?
The Swamp Thing?
Not Superman?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, he's a good guy and everything, but don't you think that if, I don't know, Superman has a woman that he really cares about and loves, it would probably not, even if they're not together at the moment, it probably wouldn't be in your best interest if you're buds with him to date her in any capacity?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Batman did date Lois Lane at one point. That is as ballsy as it fucking gets. You're going to date Lois Lane?
And Batgirl.
Batgirl, again, is from one storyline that most people don't regard. It's not canon in any way, shape, or form. It's not in the book. It's in the movie.
That's Barbara Gordon, though, if I'm not mistaken.
That is Barbara Gordon.
Right? So, that's the daughter of Commissioner Gordon, and you're just like...
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so you're going to...
Lane? Like, that's like...
Lois Lane is where I start because it is a ballsy-ass move.
That's a jerk, man. How do you condone that type of action?
You also have Wonder Woman. You have Zatanna, who he has some flings with. And now that those things don't last forever, of course, Zatanna is more with Constantine, as much as that is a frustrating relationship. But to me, Wes, I mean, Catwoman is always sexy. You have the Demon's daughter. The man dated Lois Lane and somebody named the Demon's daughter, Talia al Ghul, and had a kid with her. And as we've seen in every portrayal, pretty much, he had a thing with Black Canary, which some people maybe didn't like as much, but Black Canary is a friggin' dime, too, and a voice of an angel, too. So, I mean, yeah, sure, you got some cool ones in there, but I think that I have like 3 grand slams, and then Zatanna and Wonder Woman, too, which weren't the same type of relationships, I would say, are still very impressive.
He has a very impressive list. Probably could rival Derek Jeter, which is someone who's come up quite often in our DSG chat here. But again, what loses it for me is say what you will about Batgirl one storyline. It happened. It's out there. It's on Netflix now, right? It
is. Yes, it is.
Excuse me. So again, Commissioner Gordon's daughter. That's supposed to be a friend. Pretty scummy move. Lois Lane again. Frenemy, however you wanted to slice it up, going behind the back of Soups. don't condone that.
Okay, all right. Then that brings us to better.
And frankly, you said this is these type of questions say more about ourselves, and we get to find out a little bit more about ourselves. It's very disappointing to know that you would support and scoff when I blow back at it that type of chicanery.
Which one are you talking about, Batgirl, or are we talking about Superman?
Lois Lane and Batgirl.
Well, the Batgirl one is one that I generally refuse to acknowledge, and then
but it happened.
The Lois Lane one is
not acknowledge it.
The Lois Lane one is a much more. They weren't together. It's not like she cheated on her. They weren't together. I mean, if you love someone that much, right?
Does he though?
I mean, in the end, obviously, it didn't work out. But if you thought you did, if you thought there was something there, then. And I think he was
just trying to get. I think he had some. I think it was what we like to call like a hate.
I think in the cartoon show, I don't think it was. I don't think it was quite that. I think it happened before those two were together and all this. But anyways, once she found out he was Batman, she was not interested. We move on to better teammate. Of course, for Batman, you have the Bat Family and the Justice League, and then for Iron Man, you have the Avengers. Wes, I will start this.
Yeah, and this is just to clear it up. Like he's the better teammate, not like who has the better teammates.
Yes, correct. Who is the better teammate in all of this? And look, when we're talking about the Bat Family, that doesn't exist without Batman. It's named after him. He created the majority of those characters, or he inspired some of those characters to become heroes, and he has helped turn them all into absolute ass kickers. So there's that. And I think the Bat Family is something that gets, played on a little, like in terms of joining them up is there obviously in the comics. Obviously a few of them have their own titles. Red Hood and Nightwing, of course, I review those all the time for Geeks Worldwide, and I love those stories. I think that's where DC should set their foundation for their film franchises and everything. But that's a whole nother story. But I think the what was the other thing? Shoot, I got so excited there for a second. The Bat Family always gets me going. I love them. They're one of my favorite teams. It's them and the X-Men. And when you look at the Justice League, Wes, okay, he is. Some people, I know you're going to bring it up. He has a plan for everybody, for everything to go wrong, for every single individual. What am I going to do if that happens? Honestly, to me, if I'm Green Lantern, I want to know that's there with Superman, because who knows what can happen with him. We saw it in the Injustice series. That is all Superman. That's all him losing his shit over Lois dying. So what happens? Also, my other point is, every time I watch it, it's like there are times where Batman takes charge with the Justice League, but there are other times where like they talk it through, they figure out the point themselves, and then the camera pans over to Batman, and then he's like, yeah, that works. Like they need his approval every time because they know he's the guy, he's the brains behind the operation, but they like to work through things, so he lets them do that.
So much like that, I would say Tony is the brains of the operation behind the Avengers, though he may not be the leader, quote unquote. The Captain America is like your general leading into battle. I think Tony is the marionette to the puppet, if that makes sense, right? He's kind of holding everything and pulling all the strings to a much like I think Batman does to a large degree. And while I will admit and get out of the way the Sokovia Accords and Superhero Registration Act, put that aside, that is a glaring blow to the teammates. Although he thought he had the greater good in mind for that, that was in spite of his teammates. He regularly collaborates on a number of different levels with Banner, Steve Rogers, Thor, Peter Parker, Natasha, Doctor Strange, the rest of the gang. Like I said, in a number of different ways. Is he tough to deal with? Absolutely. Is he arrogant? Is he selfish? Is he pig-headed? 100%. But he's always willing to work together if he believes in a plan. He doesn't. You just don't talk about his parents. That's the big thing, right? That's the one thing that will really set him off. Again, yeah. Another similarity that you could have with Bruce Wayne and Batman there. But I think he's willing to do whatever it takes to get the outcome and even die. That is more than what Batman has ever done. Because Batman is still living.
Batman is still living, yeah, but wait a minute. There's more than Batman doesn't. It doesn't come to that with Batman. That's the thing. And also, we're not
okay. So how great are the stakes? So he's willing to put himself on.
You watched Justice League Dark. You saw what happened.
Batman didn't die. He didn't give his life up.
No,
He
he
didn't pay the ultimate sacrifice.
No, he was freaking screwed. He was. Oh, okay. There's a point that I think is really important that you brought up in talking about Iron Man with the Sokovia Accords.
Well, I'm not done yet. If I could.
I apologize.
Just really quick here.
Mm-hmm.
So again, another knock that I will acknowledge. It goes right back to the Civil War with the Sokovia Accords in tie and loop here. Yes, he did try to kill Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes. Yes, 100%. But Batman straight up committed premeditated attempted murder by like going out and hiring someone to shave off the kryptonite from the Indonesian oceans and have that come over on a secret covert unmarked ship that comes into him that he can then turn into weaponry to kill Superman for no reason. Tony was a crime of passion. He finds out that Bucky Barnes killed his family. Steve Rogers is trying to protect Bucky Barnes. Tony loses it. What Batman does is premeditated murder in Batman versus Superman. Premeditated attempted murder.
Okay. First, I would like to go back to your note about the Sokovia Accords because I think, look, people see the film version, and I think this is important. And I know I didn't bring it up in the mentor-mentee thing. I thought it would be more appropriate here, where he gets Spider-Man on his side in the Civil War comics, which we did an episode on a little while back, much like I did with Justice League Dark. If you guys want to go listen to those were earlier. Both of them were, I think, during the pandemic. And I'm sorry, in the shutdown, because we're still in the middle of the pandemic. I've been getting too excited about the vaccine.
Semantics, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, but in the comics, in the Civil War comics, Iron Man has Spider-Man reveal himself as Peter Parker, and obviously things don't go well for Spider-Man as he's on his team, and he gets his ass beat and almost dies if it wasn't for the Punisher, who ended up saving him. Also, look, just in general, you're talking about being bringing up his life and the guy you want to hang around and all that stuff. Oh, I get it that Iron Man's frustrated what happens with Spider-Man, and he's not he's there fighting with a team that he doesn't know as well, plus Spider-Man against Thanos while they're on Titan, right? But he comes back and he is a complete dick to Captain America and says he wasn't there. We would lose together. You weren't there. He wasn't there with him on Titan, right? But he was fighting. He fought Thanos and lost just like Tony did. So I don't know who he thinks he is throwing all this shade at Cap where he's trying to do everything he can. But to me, like this guy's just an asshole. Like you want to, like your Batman's like, oh, Batman's this. Come on, Wes. Like don't act like Superman, Iron Man's this great guy to be buddies with, great teammate that you want to get a beer with.
Yeah, I would 100% want to get a beer with Tony Stark over.
No, I'm taking Batman. That's a good category.
What would you talk about? Like, what does Bruce Wayne do? Like, what are his hobbies? Like, what is he interested in? Like, what would you talk to him about? Like, I don't even really know what Wayne Enterprises does. I know you listed off like pharmaceuticals and vaccines. Like, that's everything, all again.
Everything.
Like, yeah, again. Like, what is that? Like, okay, like that. I don't even trust Wayne Enterprise. That feels like a shell company.
I like Bruce because you know what? He's calculated, he's smart, and he puts in a lot of research and time. I feel like Tony's very smart and he's good on the fly, but Batman, like I feel like I could learn a lot from talking about like Iron Man.
Like figuring out time travel is like it's just something like that. It just happens. Like he puts no research into it.
If you honestly,
that makes like that.
If we're talking about if we had a category for who we want to get a beer with, I think Iron Man wouldn't want to spend time with anybody for more than 2 seconds. Like unless you're another soup or something like that, he's out of there in 5 seconds. Batman. As much as he's aloof, if you agree
Batman wouldn't show up. Batman wouldn't show up. Iron Man would show up and be like, "This sucks," and leaves.
Okay. We need to get to the other categories that actually exist, and I forgot to write down better on-screen portrayal. And we do have these last three that we want to hit on before we wrap things up. Better on-screen portrayal, Wes. I will let you lead that one off.
Yeah, real quick. Iron Man, because it's Robert Downey Jr. That's it. There's not a whole lot of other things to work with. When if I say to you, picture Iron Man, who comes to mind? Right? You're going to be imagining Robert Downey Jr. Mm-hmm. Now, if I said the same thing but with Batman, you ask 20 people that question, I think you're going to get a variety of answers. I think the bulk would be Christian Bale. But you might get your Michael Keatons or whatever, your Kevin Conroy's for real fans. There's a variety of different things you could think of.
Yeah.
So I think it's Iron Man. And
okay.
again, you've mentioned this, and I'll just point it out there. But obviously, they tailored the comics to him and shifted it to be specifically towards Robert Downey Jr.
Because Robert Downey Jr. I think is more the selling point in all of it. Like he just goes off and makes it his own thing and plays himself, and that's why people love it, and that's where they.
Well, and that's what's great. It's the perfect casting for it. I don't think they found the perfect casting for Batman yet.
Oh, I think okay. See, you know what? People love to now dump on Bale for his portrayal.
No, I think Bale was great. I love it, but obviously, it has to come to an end at a certain point. But
right, but that's not. I'm not saying you. People like to dump on the Bale Batman voice and how he was portrayed and all these different things. We're not here right now. Like we're not. This podcast does not exist as much. Iron Man is absolutely important. Batman. Like the Bale's portrayal, same friggin' thing, man. That helped take us into this next generation of stuff. So that portrayal is huge. And then the animated series, like there's a reason we have all these different Batmans because he is such an amazing character that in time everybody has wanted to see, and you need to have different characters. Iron Man, and that goes into some of the next things we're going to talk about. We have two more categories of they don't care about Iron Man, but they do now. But that's just because of Robert Downey Jr. and that's it. Like what's gonna? Again, I'm jumping ahead to things. So let's move on to the significance in the comics, and
I'm just going to concede this to you because it's not even close.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to argue it. That anything else would be bullshit, and I wouldn't know enough about it anyway. But I think even the general fans would be able to say you can't really hold a flame to Batman's catalog.
Right. And I'm just going to say this for the sake of my argument. Wes is conceding it, but I just would like people to know he has the best rogues gallery. You have the Batman Who Laughs, and the whole metal events that have been ongoing have been extremely entertaining. And then you get even the slight twists and turns we see with Batman, where it's Thomas Wayne as Batman, or even the Grim Knight, who we see a little bit. These are amazing, amazing characters. And also Iron Man, you have the whole Avengers thing and stuff. Prior to the cinematic world, we're just talking comics. What Tim Weisberg said on our show when he was our guy in the chair, the reason they brought those characters together is people didn't care about them as much. And so, just again to cite all that, and he has all these lines. But as you said, Wes, you concede that point. I just want people to be aware of those facts. Last, but not least,
I will say the only superhero that I think has a rogues gallery that can compare. I really like that term, by the way, rogues gallery to Batman is probably Spider-Man.
X-Men, but I know it's team. So
yeah, exactly.
Yes, one individual character, I would agree with you 1,000%. I think Spider-Man has a superior one. Last one, and this kind of brings it all together: the significance to the Marvel brand and significance to the DC Comics brand. Look, this is all I need to say. DC Comics is named after Batman's comics, Detective Comics. That's what it stands for. So, I mean, obviously he has his own the cartoon. Every time we talk about the DC movies, it's not just about where they're doing stuff wrong. Like Superman, like I've said it before, Superman, maybe he doesn't necessarily belong. He's not, people don't care about him as much. Aquaman, obviously, usually people generally don't care about him, but nobody ever says we don't want Batman. You just don't want the Batman origin story. That's it. So, I mean, I could just stop at Detective Comics is the name of the company, but you guys know, there's these other things. Constantly getting cartoon shows and these spin-off series with Batman Beyond, and then all the other characters in the comics that I didn't bring up before, like Red Hood has his own comic that's from Batman. So all this stuff. I have something else to say about Iron Man, but obviously I'll let you make your case.
So let's hop into a little bit of a time heist here. Let's do a little time travel. Let's go back to the late 1990s when Marvel was bankrupt and selling off most of its movie rights and different IPs just to kind of make ends meet because it was a failing company at this point, and relying almost solely on toy sales. They pivoted exclusively to toy sales away from their comics and everything. So they go to Marvel Studios with this idea to start building up this movie franchise. And what do? They start building around characters where the toys were wanted to be played by kids that they were surveying. Everyone wanted to play with the Iron Man toy. They put Hulk up there. They put Thor up there. They put Spider-Man. Everyone wanted Iron Man. Thus, Iron Man was born in 2008 and went off to have the greatest success that it did and spins off the 23 other movies that it has, and Marvel shortly after gets bought by Disney for $4.3 billion. And again, their movies regularly generate about $500 million, roughly, give or take, per release, bringing in millions more in merchandising sales, making Marvel the media giant once again. None of that would be possible we would never probably have an MCU. We would still probably be living with like, Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis Fantastic Four movies and like things like that. So Iron Man is the reason. While I think you can make a good argument that the Christian Bale Batman movies did so much for comic books, specifically for the MCU, Iron Man is the reason that we know Marvel to be the giant that it is currently.
Okay, and let me ask you this. So yeah, big, huge for this show and all other shows devoted to this genre. But does what's going to happen now? Like Robert Downey Jr. is gone. Is Iron Man ever going to be that relevant again?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Very much.
I think it's interesting that you could take a B or C list character, which I don't think either of us are doubting in the history of the comics, and turn that into something that can be a franchise leading character. And I think at this point, though, like 100% Detective Comics Batman, that's what it is. If you were to take Batman out of DC Comics right now, I think that they would do just fine with their other properties of Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern.
Are you talking about for the movies, or are you talking about for the comics themselves? I'm sorry.
I would say in the movies.
Okay, well, see, here's the thing, Wes. I remember distinctly when and that's why the Bale one I don't understand. I know one of my best friends growing up playing sports and everything. He liked this stuff kind of. He liked the X-Men, the show, but he didn't care about the movies quite as much. But Batman is what got him into all this stuff, the Bale movies. I remember I've dated girls who was like, they don't care about the stuff, but they like Batman. Like they don't care about any of this stuff, but they like Batman, so they want to see those movies.
But it's also how those movies were done. Like I know, like and like the subject matter lends itself to it, but previously they were like historically hokey. You know what I mean? So it made it more digestible.
Okay, but the other thing is like Batman is more relatable in the sense of like somebody becoming Batman than Iron Man. You do realize that too, right? Like because of the tech side of it and how Batman is also a lot of hand-to-hand stuff. That is so important to the character.
Like I guess so. I think the idea of someone putting on a bat costume and beating up vigilantes in the night is harder to believe than someone who can develop technology and like war suits.
You think that's harder to believe? Like that someone would build an Iron Man suit?
Yeah, I think there's like cutting edge exoskeleton suits alive right now. We've talked about on the show about a year ago that there's real life Iron Man suits out there.
There's real life citizen robots too, which is absolutely terrifying. That is I hate that stuff.
And that's just what we know about. You don't know what's like being done.
No,
in operation in whatever in the middle of a desert in like the Midwest.
Now this conversation is taking a turn that I do not want. I do not want to go down that road. But I think that we've both made our points. We will. Lee didn't put up a poll last week because I didn't want you to. I didn't want you to get embarrassed. Maybe we'll do one this week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. What does that bring us to now? Oh, it's time for the real main segment of the show, right?
Yeah, the reason why everyone's here, it's time to getting caught up with Keeping Up with the Kardashians, of course, presented by Poosh, with our special guest Kourtney Kardashian. So take it away, Wes. And of course, you can listen to the audio version of that on our audio only version of the podcast, which can be downloaded anywhere: Apple, Google, Spotify, Spreaker, all that good stuff. And stay caught up with the Kardashians.
Of course. And as always, great stuff from Kourtney Kardashian. Very, very, very much appreciate her carving out some time for us throughout all of this chaos. Wes, it's time for the Quarantine Corner. Anything interesting going on with you since our last episode?
No, just an average suburban white guy weekend. I did yard work, raked up some leaves and played some golf, and that was about it. My cousin's 40th birthday, so yeah, it's a good time.
Well, happy birthday to your cousin. And how did you golf? I mean, usually you give us updates on your golf.
I did. So I played. It was a par 3 course in Little Harbor. I was waiting. It was more of a conversation. I shot actually a 69. So
nice.
Plus 13.
So
it was a par 56, but 69, very nice. I'll take that. Yeah, it's good.
Nothing ever wrong with 69 in any sense at all.
No, and I got stuck behind 3 old ladies too for like the front 9, and it took me like 2 hours as one person to play 9 holes.
Well, that's maybe a 69 I wouldn't necessarily be interested in as much.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
So, Anyways, so the second episode from season 2 of The Mandalorian came out. I believe that's chapter 10, and is another side mission type thing. Although moving the main story kind of in the direction that the people want it to. I know Billy D gets very frustrated with what they're doing with that. I thought the Baby Yoda stuff was better in this episode. I felt like it was really forced in the first one. The side mission, though, there's a certain part that's kind of cool, but not one of my favorite episodes that we've seen so far. But the action part was had to deal with spiders, and I'm you see creepy crawly things that are huge. That's gonna bug me out. It reminds me of the flood from Halo. Did you play Halo?
Yes.
Oh, the flood from Halo.
I know. Yeah.
It's stuff of nightmares.
No, thank you.
The other thing is I started playing Among Us with Shy. I've played it a couple times now on. It's you can just play it on your iPad. And
what is this game? What is it, like a first-person shooter?
It's not at all. It's like a board game. I've tweeted out a couple of videos of it, and it's just essentially it's like this very simple game where you're doing tasks throughout on the map throughout the course of the game, and you have 2 imposters there out of a maximum 10 people, and the imposters are trying to kill you off or completely sabotage your ship. And then as a group, if somebody dies, you report it in, whatever, and then you have to deliberate and figure out who's the killer. So it's kind of it's got a board game feel to it. It's you got an action board, like a video game board game.
That. Okay.
Well, we need to have it. I know Billy wants to play. I know Doc plays. Keith was in the other night when I was playing for a little bit. Davies played. So and Mac plays. So we need to get a DSG event one time because I think I
can download that. I can play it on my iPad.
Yeah, there's 10 guys. You need to. I'll tell you how to do the audio side of it all. But good. I want you in on this. Absolutely. It's gonna be fun. We got to do a game night one night. And then lastly, what's going on this week in the DSG? I know Dork, as we're doing this, they are just starting their episode for Top 25 Essential #Dork Movies. I know you're very excited.
Yeah, this should be a good one. I like this idea a lot, so this should be interesting to see what they come up with. The 25 Essential Dork Movies. Something tells me it's going to be Muppets related, or Borat, or MacGruber. One of those 3 kind of rounding out the top 5.
Okay. And of course, Davey has his whole Movember campaign going on. I believe Doc is also in on that as well. Any money you donate to Doc also goes to Davey. So, make sure you guys help out with that. I haven't donated yet, but I will be doing that.
Yeah, but I've started growing up my mustache though. I don't. You can't really tell in this light, but
yeah, no. I see it. It looks good. Yours is already way better than Max's. Speaking of him, they did the top 20 comedies of the 1990s, as we mentioned earlier. I have not listened to that, but that episode drops the same day as ours and Dorks. And then on the day our episodes drop, PCP is going to be doing another Office season review. They're doing season 4, and tentatively they're doing season 4, which I know. How have you felt about those so far, by the way? I
love them. I think they're great. I think PCP has been knocking it out of the park content-wise. So I know September Sweeps is over, but they've done a pretty good job. Although, the horror movie stuff, I'm hot or cold with. I won't listen to that just because it's not me. Mm-hmm. But I think their music stuff I really enjoy.
Yeah, they do a great job with the music. The road trip episode that they just did recently?
Yes.
Outstanding stuff, as we would have expected. But who did you vote for, by the way, in that? You voted for Billy.
I voted for Billy just because he had one song in there that I didn't know. They were both it was Green Day songs that I didn't recognize. I was just kind of going off what I could hear in my head. And then I think Rossi had 2 or 3.
Yeah, I figured Rossi had too much rock for your liking. Although Billy D has 2 country songs, I think.
Yeah, I naturally gravitate towards rap music, but I like all music.
You don't like country music?
No, not country and techno, but generally speaking, there's a couple country songs I like. There's a couple techno songs I like.
Oh, there are. Oh, I didn't know there were some country songs that you like. Look at that.
Some of them got a good little tune.
Okay. All right. Also, this week, make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled for Furloughed Friends. That is video only, of course, on Lucy's Twitter page on Tuesday and Friday, and then TLDR will be up on our channel later on in the week. Wes, we have not even talked about what we're doing for next week, but TBD.
Yeah, same bad time, same bad place, baby.